Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I am the craftswoman, Abana Edu, and today we are going to talk to someone very special. Her name is Chaka. She has been a surrogate mom. So I met her out one day vending, and it came about, I don't know how we even got on that subject. But she told me that she was a surrogate. How did we even get on that subject? I don't even remember.
You know, it's funny. I don't either. I don't. I remember we were interested in your waist beads. I mentioned something to you. I seen something about you being a doula. I told you I was as well. And then I might have just mentioned it. I don't know. But I don't remember why I would just mention it to you.
Yeah, so I was like, I have never met a surrogate, a Black surrogate, African-American surrogate in my life. The only one that I've ever even heard of was the one on the reality Atlanta, the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Okay.
The singer Candy from the group Escape. She had a surrogate mom for her last birth. And I believe it's because she had fibroids or something like that. I think her OB recommended for her not to give birth again. So she got a surrogate mom. So I saw that on a reality show, but I've never actually physically met. So I feel like you are a jewel. And for a surrogate, for anyone who knows, like, you can just explain what a surrogate is, who don't know.
Okay, so basically, a surrogate is a woman that carries a baby for another woman. It's also called a gestational carrier. That does not mean it's my egg or my partner's sperm or anything like that. It is basically where they implant the egg and the sperm, which is already together, which we know is the embryo inside. And then if it takes, it'll grow from there. And 9 months later, you have this beautiful baby. So It's kind of funny. I know people may not think about it this way, but I don't know if you remember back in the day when people would be like, oh, that's a test tube baby. That's almost kind of what it reminds you of.
Yeah. So, I'm just intrigued by a person, doing that. And I finally get to meet someone. So I just really thank you for taking this time out to even talk to me. And hopefully this will just enlighten other people, and also other people who want to have a baby and possibly can't, who may be struggling with infertility. This is another option of you having a baby of your own. So I want to kind of get to know you. So how did you grow up, and where did you grow up?
Okay. So I grew up in Oakland, California. I am originally from California. I am the youngest. I have 2 older sisters. I've always been intrigued by pregnant women and babies. I don't know why. It was just something natural in my life. Like I said, I come from a fairly large family, but everybody normally caps out at about 2 to 3 kids. But I've always loved babies. I love the smell of babies. I love the look of babies. I just love seeing pregnant women. It was just something about their body. And as I got older and I started realizing, like, oh my God, this little itty bitty cell, and then it turns into this beautiful baby. Like, this is God's creation. This is different. So just more and more, I've always been intrigued by it. I normally can tell when a woman is pregnant without them knowing, just certain signs and different things like that. I've always wanted to cater to women who are pregnant and make sure they're okay and stuff like that. So it was nothing really special about me growing up. It was just something that was inside of me that have always liked women and babies.
Okay, so how did you become a surrogate, and have you done it more than once?
Okay, so let me give you a brief background before I do that. I have 3 beautiful children of my own. My youngest is 14. I lived in Texas, and my experience with having her was not a good one at all. I made up my mind then to where I actually, a little bit of personal history, got a tubalization. So my tubes are tied. And so I didn't want any more kids because that was a traumatic experience for me.
You got your tubes tied after the first child?
No, my tubes are tied after my 3rd child.
Oh, and after the surrogates?
They were tied during me being a surrogate. Hold your thought. Hold your thought.
Wow.
So, because it was a traumatic experience. So that was my decision. I just didn't want to have any more children. I didn't want to do it that way. And to be perfectly honest with you, I always knew about home births and different things like that, but it's not something that's always promoted or encouraged. So we're going to fast forward probably about 5 years ago. Me and a couple of my friends, I knew a friend who was getting ready to do it. I was like, "Ooh, that's awesome. Be a blessing to somebody else." For the most part, I've always had pretty easy pregnancies. So being pregnant, you got to remember, I love pregnant women. So it didn't bother me being pregnant. But one of my sisters has MS. And so what made me really want to do it is I know that the body replenishes itself. And so when they came out with stem cell, it really intrigued me. And I said, if I get pregnant again and do stem cell, then maybe this will work out for her. It didn't end up working out. That's another story. But that was one of the reasons. So I said, well, we'll get 2 for 1. I can be a blessing to my sister and hopefully help her out, as well as I can be a blessing to help another family add on to their family. And like I said, being pregnant didn't bother me. It was just my traumatic experience. But I was hoping this time around that my experience wouldn't be the same. So that's kind of how I got into it.
So you had 1 child already.
I had 3 already.
What are the ages? Well,
So
how far apart are they?
My children are the surrogates. So my children.
Oh, you claim the
Yes.
surrogates.
No. So I have 3 children of my own. My children, the oldest is 20, the youngest is 14. My surrogate that I've carried are, one is 2 and one will be 4 months tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes.
So this is very recent. Oh.
So my last surrogate, I do not claim any of the children as my own, only my own children. The surrogates are like my special little people. The last one, I call him my perfect little angel, because of course I had him during a time when we're dealing with all this traumatic stuff going on in the world and stuff, and with COVID happening. So I actually had him in the hospital with COVID and all that good stuff. We didn't have COVID, but I'm saying with the whole pandemic going on.
Wow.
Yeah, so he'll be 4 months tomorrow. So that's my special little angel baby.
So when did you get your tubal ligation?
After my actual daughter, my 14-year-old.
After the number 2?
After number 3.
Okay, of course. Okay. After the 3rd.
After my 3rd child.
So you can get pregnant. You can still get pregnant with your tubes tied and have you had natural vaginal birth? Wow. That's interesting.
You got to remember, they're implanting the egg, the fertilized egg, already inside of you.
Okay.
So, yes.
Wow, you're right. Okay. So what was the experience like when you were, I'm sure there was a difference, because there's always a difference between each pregnancy. How did you feel carrying the babies?
So with the first one was a little girl. That one was a little bit different on all levels. I had to take more medication, so it wasn't as natural as I would have liked for it to be. So I had a lot of reactions with some of the medications, and I know that that's something that can happen when you walk into it. So I had hives, my lips and everything was swelling up. I was allergic to a couple of the medications and different things like that. I know that the parents were, really grateful. A lot of things are different, so they do not keep in contact. That one was a little bit harder because it just kind of felt more like a business transaction. And when you're doing something so, I'm going to say it's intimate, that you would like to have better contact and communication, but you also have to be respectful of each person. My second one was truly amazing and phenomenal. The one that was 4 months ago. I actually was getting ready to close down my case because I did go through an agency in California. And so my case manager called me and she said, Chaka, please, 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 please just consider it. I have another parent. I think that you guys will be a perfect match. And I was like, I was getting ready to call you and tell you to close my case. I'm done. I'm older now and I'm done. And she said, please. So I met with the mother and we ended up just vibing really well. And so once I talked to her, she let me know that she pretty much wanted it to be all natural for me as much as possible. And so we just went from there. I didn't have to take as many medication. I think I only had to take 2. I didn't have the allergic reactions. For a minute, it was a little bit rough in the beginning, just the transition of it. But once he took hold, and here he was coming.
So I imagine after you have the babies, it's pretty much like is it somewhat like an adoption? Not in the paperwork sense, but like after you have the baby, you don't do any skin to skin, no breastfeeding.
No, none of that.
After the baby comes out, it goes right to the parents.
Yes. So each person, and I want to make that clear for everybody that's watching this, each experience and each person is going to be different. It is they're called intended parents. They are the actual parents of that child. You are not. You are only if you hear me say IP, that's intended parent, and GC is gestational carrier or surrogate mom. It depends on your relationship with the parents. So for my first one that I did in 2000, that was born in 2018, when she came out, I did see her. I did get to see her after, but it was very short. So a part of my agreement is that the baby would not do skin to skin with me unless the baby was in distress and needed me. If the baby doesn't need me, I don't want to have that bond, because that's when I think you really gain that bond with that baby. So with the first parents, they did skin to skin, and after they let me see the baby, until everything was time for me to go home and different things like that. I did not breastfeed. I did not pump. I did not do any of that. For my last one that I just had in 2020, when I tell you I love her, I love her. So she did skin to skin with her baby, but she wanted to be next to me. So once they got me all cleaned up, she came and laid next to me because she said, I need him to see who brought him in the world. So that was our bonding together. Now for her, I did pump so that she can get the golden ticket, which is the colostrum. And so I did do that for her because that is what they wanted. So that was our skin to skin. So as she's holding him, he's looking my way. And then we just kind of all bonded together. And that was really special.
So that last pregnancy, do you have what may be called, I guess I'm only comparing it to an adoption because that's the only kind of something I can see that would kind of correlate. But so is it sort of like they have open adoptions? Is it kind of like that?
It's
like
not adoption at all.
No, I know it's not. I know it's not an adoption. Okay, when you have an open adoption, meaning like the parents still can communicate with the mom. Not like they're gonna go babysit the baby, but like it's not closed. Like the first one sounds like it's like a closed adoption. It's not an adoption.
I know what you're saying. Okay.
You understand? Like it's a closed. The first one seems like a closed relationship, and the second one seems more like an open relationship. Like you still can see what the baby's journey and stuff.
So again, that would be up to the parents. So I get what you mean by adoption. I just don't want to confuse people.
Right.
But it's up to the two if they want to stay in contact or not. So again, my first one was like a business transaction. They don't want to keep in contact. I think they didn't. I think the mom kind of had mixed feelings. Sometimes as a mother, you can kind of feel a certain type of way and you don't want another woman, maybe, I don't know what her feelings was. So maybe I wouldn't be right to speak upon them, but they pretty much shut that one down. with this last one, we do keep in contact. We made a personal choice to keep in contact. And so we don't bug each other. We don't, reach out every day or every milestone, but here and there we'll send a text. Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'll reach out to them tomorrow because I know he's turning 4 months and just say, how's my little perfect angel baby? They'll give me an update and just let me know how he's doing and different things like that. So yes, with the last ones, we have chose to stay in communication.
As long as she wants to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's both, because some surrogates don't like to keep in contact either. So for me, I'm open. It's whatever the parents are comfortable with, I'm comfortable with.
And you don't feel like I want my baby? You don't, it
wasn't my baby. So in my mind, I never, it wasn't my egg. It wasn't any of that.
Wow.
I was just the oven.
Wow. That is.
So when I do have any kind of disconnections, it's just what I told you, the mom and the baby came and bonded. So I know that may sound weird to others, but I actually miss the mom and the baby, because she literally, once they cleaned me up, came and laid right next to me with the baby. And so that was our special moment. And then while we were in the hospital, we would spend a lot of time together. So when I first got discharged and they went back home to where they're from, it was a little bit hard being away from both of them. It wasn't just about the baby, because I was done being pregnant by then, but it was missing them.
And you had doulas with both of those pregnancies?
I did. I had the honor of having a doula with both, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
So you had the doula there during the pregnancy, at the birth. Did you also have postpartum doula care?
Mm-hmm. Not for the first one. The first one, she just mainly checked on me to make sure that everything was okay and going okay. I actually was in the process of transitioning and moving to Texas. So my last one, though, yes. I had a postpartum care, check on me and different things like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so were they out of state? The second one, was it?
Each one of my doulas were where I was from.
So not necessarily?
The first one, we were both from California, just two different parts of California. I'm from Northern California. She was from Southern California. My last journey, of course, was here in Texas, and then the parents are from the East Coast. So they had to come
and visit you, like, during the prenatal?
If they choose to.
Oh, okay.
If they choose to. But my parents did not know. They just you really couldn't do anything. The world was shut down. Everything was, so no, they didn't come visit or anything like that. They just came and got their baby. But my doula was in Texas, here with me every step of the way.
Okay. So did you experience any postpartum depression?
I think as a mother, we have so many different experiences. I wouldn't necessarily say I experienced postpartum depression, but I think that there's times that I can see where I have anxiety or it's heightened. But I don't necessarily know if it's from the pregnancy. I'm trying to figure out if it's everything that's going on with the world and me just trying to get back reacclimated with everything. So I don't have any, I don't miss the baby as far as, wanting him to be in my stomach. I don't think he's mine. I literally, I had him for someone else, and I had to get back into my own life because my own children need me. So it helps having own children, it helps that I have my own children, because we have to get right back in the flow, and they'll be like, okay, come on, mom, let's go. We need you. We let you be away for 9 months, not away physically, but, kind of where I'm like, oh, I can't, so then they need me to jump right back in and pick up my motherly duties.
So while the baby is in your belly, I know from carrying mine, we had conversations and all that bonding stuff. How was that experience? Did you go along? How did you just go? Okay, what was the difference between carrying someone, being a gestational carrier, and carrying your own? What was the difference, emotional, attachment kind of experience? Bonding.
It's what you said. I talked a lot to my kids. Once I found out what they were, I called them by their names right away. I had certain conversations and just, let them know I couldn't wait to see them. It was, and then I knew they were mine. When I got pregnant with the surrogates, it was already embedded in my mind that these were not my children. But I wanted to be the portal that they came through, and I wanted to make it the best experience for, the parents as well as for myself. So I always asked the parents, what was the child name going to be? Once they found out, I always called the baby their name. And I would have, so for my last one that I just had, I would call him my little homie. So we would go through the day, and if he was cutting up or making me feel uncomfortable, I'll be like, okay, little homie, we got to get it together. But never in my mind do I ever think that it's my baby or nothing. It's just always, I need them to come here safe, and I need them to be healthy. That's normally my mind frame when I was carrying.
So what advice would you give to someone who wants to do this for someone who wants to be a gestational carrier?
I think it's awesome. But the one thing that I would tell everybody is that you need to have a very good support system. You need to be open-minded to the different things that can happen to your body. Different women, different things happen. I'm very fortunate. So as of right now, nothing, I went right back to my healthy self. But, some people have to have hysterectomies after certain things. You may encounter these things, but that's just like if you're carrying your own child, you don't know what's going to happen. So I would always suggest that maybe someone does it that already has kids, at least two. I would tell them to really make sure that they connect with the parents. I think that that's really important. Had my first parents been my second parents, I probably would not have done it. Had I known things probably could be a little bit different, I will be honest with you, because I didn't connect with them like that. And so although we were always very polite with each other and very caring towards one another, we just didn't really connect as though we could have. So I think that that's very important. Connect with the parent. Make your expectations known in the beginning. So whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it is you want out of this pregnancy, I feel that communication is the key, as well as finding parents that will communicate with you as well to make what it is that they expect from this pregnancy. I think that the person should be very open-minded, because there's a lot of parents, if this is her first child and she hasn't been able to carry, we go through certain parts of pregnancy where it's really nothing new happening. But to that mom, she really wants to know every single step. How are you feeling? What's going on? Did the baby move today? So you have to be open-minded to that. We can't be selfish, like, oh my God, these people are calling me again. She can't experience what you're experiencing. So if you don't have compassion like that, it may not be something for you to do, because there's going to be times that you just don't feel good. Maybe you don't want to talk, but we have to look at it from their standpoint as well. What else? I think if you're a first timer and you want to do this, I think it's always good to go through an agency so that you can have a third party communicate, with you, but you can also go independent. I actually have a friend who had 2 surrogate babies right after me. And so she went independent with it. And so that's also a suggestion, but do your research. There's a lot that comes with it. So that's pretty much my suggestion.
Okay. And did you want to talk about like how much you got paid?
That actually is depending on the people. So there's a cap in a lot of states. If you come independent, you can negotiate a little bit more. Depending on what state you're in, that would depend on the cost in your state. So it's different in each state.
So what's the average? Okay, like what's the lowest and what's the highest?
I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that, because it's depending on if it's negotiable or not.
Okay.
So yeah, it's negotiable. So some people independent. So I'm a part of a couple of surrogate groups. I've seen people get paid as low as maybe like $10,000, but I've seen people get paid maybe as high as $40,000. So it just all depends on, are you independent? Are you going with a fertility clinic, not a fertility clinic, fertility clinic, different things like that. So it just all depends. That's why I said it's very important that you do your research and know
And
what
you
you
shouldn't
want.
do it. You don't advise doing it for the money.
I don't advise doing it for the money, but I'm also going to tell you, I would never tell anybody to do it for free. So the money wasn't the issue or the problem for me at all. That is not why I went into it doing it. I literally went into it to do it because I was like, I can save 2 lives, I can help my sister, and I can bless somebody with the baby. But so the money was the last thing on my mind. But I do think that a woman should get paid for what she's doing. So she has to determine what she is worth and what she's willing to get paid, because you are carrying a life and your body is going to go through some things.
Okay. So, so let's get more into you. What do you actually do for a living right now?
So I actually am a doula myself. I recently became a doula right after I had my perfect angel. I am a birth doula, a postpartum doula, and labor and delivery doula, of course. And then I'm also a fertility doula. I would love actually to really help surrogate moms and intended parents. I would love, love, love to be a part of their journey and just help them to really to vibe together and to connect during the whole time in the experience. But I would love to help women in general. And then on the side, as far as corporate America goes, I work in the medical field. So I work in the hospital and different things like that.
Okay, so I guess my next question would be, why did you want to become a doula? But you've already stated that. So every doula, I suggest, that they have a niche, and yours would be intended parents.
Both.
Yes,
So I wouldn't, yes, for surrogate moms, but I'm very open. My niche now after having this baby, probably more than anything, I'm thinking is more postpartum. I didn't realize how much we as women go through after the baby. Do not get me wrong, labor is very important, but after, our mental it takes a lot, and emotionally, of course, we already know what the physical is. I didn't know how emotional and mental it was for us. And so that would probably be my niche. But like I said, when it comes down to it, I would love to be that portal in a different way to help intended parents and intended parents and gestational carriers to be able to vibe, to connect, to have that connection as they're going along through their journey.
Okay, so if someone wants you to be their doula, what kind of clients, what's your ideal client? What kind of clients do you want?
Clients that are open-minded to suggestions, clients that I'm very open to my clients. I'm very, very open, but mainly someone who kind of knows what they want. And I don't mean everything. What I mean by that is, if they're stuck on having a home birth, then hey, let's go for it. This is what you know that you want. If you want to say, I don't know anything, then let's look and do our research. How can I assist you? How am I going to benefit you? So that's mainly what I'm looking for. Somebody who's just really open, but has an idea, somewhat of an idea of what they want.
And how can people get in contact with you?
They can get in contact with me right now at my with my email, which is Chaka, which is my first name, CHAKA, B as in boy, Parker, PARKER @yahoo.com. They can email me. They can also call me at 916-529-1403. I am more than happy to chat with someone or Zoom, all this good stuff we have going on, and just to see, if we would connect and how I would be able to help them. That would only be as a doula. Me being a surrogate is cut off. I am no longer, I will no longer be a surrogate. My last journey was a very magical and special journey. And so that was a good way for me to close out that way. But I would love to assist another woman in bringing her baby or even after.
Okay, and say that phone number again because it faded out.
Okay, my telephone number is 916-529-1403, or my email is CHAKAB as in boy, Parker @yahoo.com.
Okay, and I'll be sure to put that in the description. Did you want to talk more about like what we were talking about before? Just the doula career?
Sure. I wanted to become a doula because I didn't want women to experience what I had experienced. As
And
far
of
as
course,
just,
like the career part, your career. Like
oh my, okay.
you were talking about because I know that it's other doulas who may have those same experiences or feel the same way as you. And I just like, we were talking about just you were transitioning, you're in a new state.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of want to go into the business part because that's like my passion as far as like helping doulas like, soar in their career.
Yeah, so I think that is a good idea because I am new out here. I think when we get training, the training is very well. I love my training, but sometimes I think that on the back end, that if we had a course, as far as the business aspect of it, it would help a lot of doulas who are training or even out there who might be struggling. So absolutely, absolutely. I do not have a website up. I'm currently working on my website and transitioning everything from Facebook to Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. But yes, I think a business course would definitely be something, I will be interested in taking.
So that is like one of the things that I believe makes my training stand out versus other trainings because that's just like a lot of doulas have the same sentiments as you. They come to me, okay, I got this training with this person, but I don't know how to get clients. And some people feel like it's saturated. There's so many doulas out here. Black women specifically don't want a doula. They don't know what it is and all this type of stuff because we as Black women, we do want to work with our own because for one, I mean, not only we do have some of the same cultural, it's just different. And so sometimes other people might don't understand that. Like let's just say the hair thing, we're going through labor. Like, most women, they're going to get braids. They're going to do something with their hair, just something as small as that. Or just like dealing with racism, that's some things that other races may not understand. And we do have a birth crisis that is just kind of talked about and just, it's like the memes keep going, oh, Black women are 3 or 4 times more likely to die than white women. And we just go on and on and on about that. But it's a real crisis, just
Right.
as police brutality is a real crisis, along with so many other things. But
Mm-hmm.
you cannot neglect birth. So doulas are extremely important. And we need to have doulas. That's just important. We need to have doulas. And doulas need to be getting paid their worth. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you can be okay, you can be a doula as far as like, I mean, have a job and be a doula with postpartum because that's scheduled. But when it comes to being on call and dealing with births, I tell women how you can actually still make that work. But it's just a simple way that you got to do it, but you got to eventually let be free. If your job is going to be keep questioning you about, hey, you're missing too many days and all this type of stuff. But there's so many ways around that by like having backup doulas, like getting a
Mm-hmm.
whole team of doulas. That's going to help you because,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if you have to work, you can get your partner to cover for you until you get there. So when I would do something like that, I would have the client to actually meet the doulas. I would like to have more than one. And then we just kind of have, have a little conversation so they can kind of feel them. And then after it's over, I can say, hey, which one you like? I'm like, oh, I like both of them more. Because if you have a backup doula, I don't think it's now it's good, okay, if you have a recommended person that your client has never met and you can say, hey, I vouch for your word. But we get into all of that, strangers coming, looking, poking, so we want to have some type of familiarity, and you may not vibe with a certain doula. So I think that's one way that it can be done when you're dealing with backup doulas. So forming more collectives within you and maybe one or two other people, that would be a good thing. Having a job to where you do have the freedom, like I worked in a salon, so it wasn't a big deal. The people I worked for, I was like, look, when they interview me, I'm a doula. That's my priority. So if somebody called me for birth, I'm not going to be able to do these clients. And they would be fine because they would just get another nail tech to cover for me. So if you just have to have the freedom. And I would say either be open or I don't know. I mean, you can see like that'd be a lot of personal time, but you got to gauge it too. You got to know when it's time. And when you are connected to that client, you can pretty much tell for the most part, like I can tell when it's really active, like when you're really in that stage to where I'd be like, look, it's time. So when so you can work it that way. But as far as like marketing is like a big thing that we don't think about as a doula. You can work for a hospital as a doula. You can work for a birthing center. You can work for nonprofit organizations. You can even work for a nanny website. You can even go, I saw this website that was hiring for doulas. So you can be working for somebody, but most likely you're going to be self-employed. Okay. So that means that you got to go after the money. Basically, it is not in the beginning. And then afterwards, you're going to have them calling you. Okay. Like once you do like a few successful births, they're going to tell other people. And word of mouth is going to outweigh any type of postings and things that you can do. So a lot of doulas, I follow a lot of doulas. A lot of doulas follow me. A lot of doulas just post, babies. And we were talking about the photos, how you say before we start recording, how you say you didn't want to, use other people's photos, but they do have some general photos that are like for the public. I can't think of the word of photo stock. I can't think of the actual word that I'm looking for, but there are free photos that you can have. And not only, I just think just showing pictures and stuff, it's nothing different than anybody else. But if you get really the key, honestly, is going live. And I actually do not like going live. But I'm missing out on a lot of money by not going live. So I'd be like, man, ain't nobody in here, because it takes time. But the reason why I even created this channel and how I like for my doula trainers to come on here and do an interview is because we can just see your website. Regular doulas, you can see your website if you have that, you can follow them. But I need to know, like, kind of read you. What does her voice sound like? What's her facial expressions, to kind of get to know your personality. And of course, these videos, it's not going to be able to tell everything about you, but it's going to be able to make you stand out with any other doula that you can just see the picture. Right. So going live is gonna just really take you into another lane. Also having classes. You can have your own classes, paid or free. You can do classes for moms, like to get them, pregnant childbirth education class. You could do stuff like that. And also you have to keep educating yourself as a doula, because the more education that you have, the more valuable that you have. And with you going through the surrogacy, you really pretty much in a lane of your own. I had one of my relatives who was in the medical industry. She wanted me to deal with just surrogates, because she knew that there was a big thing that was going on in the hospital. She was like, you could just cater to surrogate women because their moms, they're going to have the money. They're going to have the money to pay you. So we can get rid of the excuse of, oh, people don't want to pay. But people will pay for what they value. So when you show the value, and we, unfortunately, we got to start teaching. Being a doula is not new. It's just the term is new.
You're right. You're right. Women have been helping women since way back when. So we have to get, just we as women, we have this independent, strong, I can do it by myself, I don't need help type of mentality, but it's okay to have help. Like I would not suggest anybody to have a birth without a doula. And so that's why I do my expo, Don't Birth Without a Doula, because you need to, even if you don't want that physical person there with you during labor, to consult with you, especially during these times. You definitely need to have that support. And because they're like flagging like the videos, and I got to be careful even about the title. I probably can't even put doula in the title, so got to figure that out, because I don't know what's going on. I've been trying not to say the whole CIVID thing, but I guess they can still read it through the transcripts. It's a whole big thing with that. But yeah, so doulas can do a lot of things to make them stand out, to make them get clients. And I get so frustrated with my training saying, nobody's pregnant. And I'm like, I see pregnant women every day. All the time.
So if you have your information, whether it be a card or a flyer, it's a numbers game. You give out so many of them, somebody's gonna call you. So it's you got to be, a little bit more aggressive. And that's just one thing that we don't talk about in our trainings. To me, I feel like my training was more, it had more of like pregnancy education, which we're overloaded with education. These women got apps. They know what they baby doing every day.
Every day, every minute of the day.
Yeah, so that's not really what they need. They need more of a physical support. And then you being educated. She got preeclampsia. You already need to be versed in preeclampsia on everything, the good, the bad, everything. So then you give her the information to help her to make the best decision, or she might want to have a VBAC. You got to be educated. So a doula, a birth worker, period, has to always be, educated. And I did a prenatal kind of class with this lady. It was free, and free sometimes, most time people don't really appreciate free. So she was like, and I was like, well, do you have any questions? Well, I don't think it's gonna be nothing that you can tell me unless something done changed within the last 15 years, because she had a 15-year-old. Okay. It doesn't matter how many children that you have. Still need a doula. And even more on like the 4th and 5th child, because family be like, oh, you got it, you don't need help. They kind of abandon you. And every pregnancy to me brings some type of level of fear, some type of level of, unexpectancy. You don't know what's going to happen. So when I started to tell her about delayed cord clamping, she didn't know about that. Vernex, delaying the baby's bath, she did not know about that. Creating a birth plan, she didn't know about that. And now I'm getting bigger on creating a postpartum plan. So don't try to, everybody doesn't know. It's so many things that you can learn. To make the situation better. So yeah, I just want to make sure that, us birth workers know that it's money out here to be made. People will pay for the services. We just have to put ourselves out there. And it's becoming so trendy now, with Erykah Badu doing it. And we have so many other doulas that are becoming more prominent, more mainstream, becoming more popular. So right now it's our time. It's really no excuse. But even vending, vending is not so much about making money. It's marketing. Yeah. So like I get, students from that. It's like, oh, I want to learn, but I want to learn from somebody Black. And just knowing me, because people are so scared of scammers, of people scamming. That's just a big thing of like, I'm just scared to spend my money with you. Will you do this? And feeling like somebody's not going to be professional, because there's some people out here that's being janky with doula services and doula trainings. Yeah, so yeah, you put yourself out there, because I mean, I get clients. I'll tell my trainers, yo, if you want to be my assistant, you can get all the clients, because I will give them all to you, because it's not one every time a pregnant woman, oh, I want to do a little bit. I can give them to my trainer. So yeah, you have to get out there. It's gonna take some time, being uncomfortable, and a little money. That's it, and just being consistent. And then all of a sudden, you'll find people stalking you. Pregnant women stalking you. I'll be like, did you get pregnant just so I can be your doula? They'll be like, I want you to be my doula. And I'll be like, okay. I just found out I'm pregnant. I'll be like, yeah, right. And then they really come through. Like, so yeah. So you just got to put yourself out there, but you haven't even done that yet.
Yeah, it's gradually coming. I'm also trying, that's why I said postpartum is something I really want to focus on, because just to piggyback off what you said, we as women need to learn that we need the support. And whether you have one child or you have 10 children, you need that support. You need someone to say, it's okay, you got this, you can do this. So part of it for me right now is going through that transition phase as well, of just remembering that it's okay to not rush everything. It's okay to sometimes take your time, and to not be okay sometimes, as well as me trying to fully get my body completely back right. Like I
Yeah,
said, the
you
last
still
one,
going.
yeah,
I forgot
it's only
you in the gym, and I say a year. I don't even be on the 6 months. I say 3 months to a year.
yeah. So I'm literally, he'll be 4 months tomorrow. So I'm 4 months in. So I'm still trying to get things, back together again and stuff like that. So like I said, gradually everything will come and open up. I'm also fairly new to Houston. So I try to just learn more about the area, because one thing that's really important for me when I do really just put myself out there is that I want to be able to be there for that woman. I don't want to tell anybody that I can do something that I cannot do, or that I'm not going to be available for. Now, I'll always be open. I know that there's always unforeseen circumstances, but I want to be there for you. I want you to know and remember, when you think about Chaka with Doula with the Purpose, she was there. Her purpose was to be there with me. She was there all the way. And so that's what's really important to me. And just
Okay.
for families in general. So even, we have so many different couples nowadays and different things like that. So just, I want all couples to know I'm not closed-minded. I am open to anyone who needs my services. As long as we vibe and we have that connection, I'm open to them.
Okay. And the name of your business, Doula with a Purpose.
It is. It's Doula with the Purpose. I'm not sure if you can see that, but yes,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
Doula with the Purpose.
Okay. So right now you're just doing postpartum?
I'm nope. I do everything.
Oh,
I
so
do
you're open for
everything.
birth too, and
I'm open for
fertility?
birth. Yep. I'm
Okay.
open for everything.
Okay. Well, I really hope that people reach out to you, and you get going and fly, and just do everything you want to do, because just having a big heart to even carry for somebody else, that just that just makes you stand out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes,
Yeah.
I am very much so open. I'm not closed off. I'm not busy. If people reach out to me, I'm more than willing to have a conversation and discuss with them. I do have a bio. Like I said, now you're going to make me push even harder now with certain things. I'll probably go ahead and do a couple of things, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Go ahead and start doing different things like that. Website takes a little bit longer, but yes, I'll definitely
And
be
you don't
putting
need the
myself up and out.
website. You just need a phone number and an email, and set up your e-commerce accounts and the way you want to take money, because you can take money. I'm not a cash app. I don't suggest cash app, but I mean, you can do the other, I don't want to promote them because they ain't paying me, but you can set it up to where,
Right.
you're getting paid. So as
Right.
long as you can get paid, you can work, you can still have a business. And then you can start as a sole proprietor, get your LLC or corporation or whatever, do that later. Then, save your receipts and bookkeeping and all that stuff, to get the business going. But you can start today. Well, I'm not going to put it on you, but people generally, you can start immediately. And I say, well, even if you're not ready, marketing takes time anyway. I mean, it wouldn't hurt for you to go ahead and get going. You don't know who might see this video or who might reach out to you and, just set you up. You just never know what can happen. But when you put yourself out there, you're open. Like you said, you're open when you put yourself out there, and then like they say, build it and they will come. In most instances, that's really what will happen. So put yourself out there, and then you'll get busy and doing the work that you really want to do, because we really need you out here in these birth streets, because it's still a lot of maternal deaths. It's still a lot of infant mortality, and we cannot stop talking about it. We can't just make it be cliche. We really need to do something about it. So education is number one. Letting people know, hey, there's different things that you can do. That's why we celebrate Black Breastfeeding Week once a year, to promote that, because that helps with postpartum depression and it helps with infant mortality. Like, it literally saves lives. So thank you for coming on and talking freely and openly about your surrogate experience. And I'm glad we learned that we have another doula in the community who can serve families and help people out so that we can have better birth outcomes. And that's what it's about. It's not just about talking about it, but it's about doing it. So thank you all. Please reach out to Chaka for your doula services.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. No problem. Thank you all for watching. Please reach out. Okay.